stand by for action.
Thanks for joining me. My name is David Milner. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy. Let's get started with this show, and want to begin by thanking everyone who gave such nice comments on last week's program, Conservative Showcase. Got some really good ones, and you're all appreciated, as is everyone who listens to this show. I appreciate you all. Now, before I get to the real subject of this show, I want to ask everyone to remember the victims' families and victims of 9/11 in their prayers, and to pray that something else doesn't happen on this anniversary day of 9/11. I don't know if I'll be able to put out a show before that time, but I am worried that something else will happen, because the elitists have made sure that the United States of America is considered a easy target, and this concerns me, particularly given what happened last year in Egypt and Benghazi. All right, let's get to the real subject of the show. And the real subject of the show is what I call the real world. And no, I don't mean 7 narcissistic 20-somethings living in a fantasy house on an MTV program. I'm talking about an extension of what the hip-hop conservative G-Ski Rocks talks about when he mentions the Crazy Box. Now, G-Ski Rocks, by the way, has a great show on Blog Talk Radio. I encourage everyone to listen to it. It is a lot of fun, and it's different. It's not your usual conservative talk show. I gravitate to these, and I encourage you to gravitate as well. This gravity will bring you into a great chat box called the Bacon Zone. Enjoy. Now, the left love to try and put us in what G-Ski Rocks calls the crazy box by telling us that we don't live in the real world, or saying that they live in the real world. I decided I'd examine this whole concept of what the left calls the real world, and the real world as viewed by people on the right, and, in my opinion, by regular, ordinary people who aren't trying to manipulate someone else or who aren't deluded. Came up with a lot of subheadings for this, so I'm probably not going to be able to do all of this in one show. So this is going to be my first ever 2-part show, and hope you guys will listen to this one and the next one. All right, so let's begin. Now, the real world, as far as the left is concerned, has many facets. Anyone's world has many different pieces. Now, the first bit of the left's real world is the debt. The left doesn't understand or recognize really that there is a debt, and they don't care that there is one. But I can tell you from a real-world perspective that, yes, there is a debt. And you want to see that debt? All you have to do is look at the national debt clock. Now, I'm going to post everything that I talk about that I have something on from the web or news articles or whatever on UBG Contact on Twitter, and I encourage everyone to check that out. Currently, the national debt clock, the outstanding public debt as of 4 September 2013, 05:48:31 p.m. GMT is $16,748,364,271,734.75. The estimated population of the United States is 316,585,001. So each citizen's share of this debt is $52,903.21. The national debt has continued to increase an average of $2.01 billion per day since September 30th of 2012. Now, I encourage you guys to go and look at this link after you hear this show, because it's going to be bigger. It just keeps on going up and up and up and up and up. If you look at a real-time version of the national debt clock, it's insane to watch it. But our friends on the left don't seem to get that this is an issue. As far as people on the left are concerned, there's all the money in the world, and we don't have to worry about anyone ever calling in our debts. If we owe people, who cares? Something will always work out. Now, people on the right are and always have been extremely concerned about the debt. They've always known what any good homeowner knows, which is if you owe a lot of money, it's not a good thing. If you owe a lot of money, sooner or later, somebody's going to come up and say, hey, where's my cash? But people on the left don't seem to think that this is any kind of an issue, and they continue to want to spend, spend, spend. So I'm forced to ask here, who lives more in the real world? Someone who doesn't think that the debt is a problem at all, or someone who's concerned about it and would like for that debt to be paid off so that we didn't owe anyone anything? I think we know the answer to this. Now, the second piece, welfare. Now, the left and the right disagree wildly on this. The left believes that there should be an entire worldwide welfare state, whereas people on the right view welfare as something either for those who cannot work and or something temporary for those who are temporarily down on their luck. These are two completely different views of the world. And the proof of who's right is in which economies are doing well and which ones aren't. All you have to do to check the proof in this is look over in Europe. Greece is the worst. Southern Europe is right behind them, and they're taking the rest of the European Union with them because they have welfare states. Welfare it's a wonderful concept to think that no one would have to work and the government would take care of everyone, but it is unsustainable. And again, real world, I personally think that people who believe in maintaining something that is completely unsustainable are not living in the real world. And those people would be the left. Now, let's get to the next piece. War. All right, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. That's what the left says. You know, they want everyone to sit around a campfire and sing Kumbaya and roast marshmallows, organic marshmallows, of course. Of course, I don't know what an organic marshmallow is, but I'll bet a lefty can tell you. They just figure if we can just talk to people. I heard this during the Obama campaign. This college kid was talking about how Obama's just going to go up to the people in Iran and these other places, and he's just going to talk and stuff is just going to happen. And the left says that they live in the real world. Now listen, real fact in the real world is there are people out there who are going to take what they want when they want to take it. They're going to dominate. There will be a dominant power in the world. That's the real fact. All the wishful thinking in the world is not going to change that, because it is not going to change human nature, which is to be greedy. And there are, at least for the foreseeable future, going to be people who have armies at their command, and they're going to use those armies to obtain what they want. Now, we've got one of two things we can do about this. We can either play around at playing war and put a lot of rules on ourselves and negotiate with people we know can't be negotiated with, and go into war situations as if it were some kind of a game, or we can wage real war. If we identify an enemy that is a threat to us, we go in, we smash them, and then we leave, we move on. That's how to conduct war. War is not a game. War is not nice. The left thinks that war should be nice. The right, who actually do live in the real world, know that the opposite is true. Now let's go to the next piece, which is Islamism. There's a big divide between the left and the right here, and the left think that in the real world, not every Islamist is evil, When someone yells "Allahu Akbar," it's just saying thank God, and they're just a peaceful religion like any other. Now, people on the right view some of these things a little bit differently and a little bit more realistically, at least in my opinion. People usually don't yell thank God here in the United States when they're about to kill someone. All right? As far as being a religion of peace, I would believe that more if more Islamists stood forward and said they were against the violence of their fellows. There's supposed to be 1 billion Islamists in this world. All right? Why aren't more of them stepping forward? Why aren't they actively working to stop the violent ones? They're not. I think the people who live in the real world recognize that Islamism itself can be a threat. Far too many people on the left, for instance, believe that there's nothing wrong with Sharia law. If you look in Europe, what do you see? Sharia law in government. Now, people on the right are a little bit disturbed by this concept because it limits the human rights of people like gays and women. You're looking at two completely different concepts concerning a religion and its spread throughout the world. Now, most people on the right don't believe that each and every Islamist is evil, but we do want to see more of them step forward and oppose the violence that their fellows are indulging in. The left doesn't seem to have a problem with this. So again, we're talking about an ideal on the left versus the reality which we see every day on the right. Who lives in the real world? Not the left. Okay. Let's go to the next piece. Guns. Yeah, Piers Morgan would love this one. I'm going to talk about guns. That's right. Guns. Now, if you want to find a subject that the left and the right are diametrically opposed on, you can't find a better one than firearms. The left believe some truly insane things about them. And this is mostly because their culture has taught them to stay away from guns. They've taught them that guns are evil, that people who use guns are evil, that in fact if someone wants to own a legal firearm, there has, by definition, to be something wrong with them because they secretly want to do violence against other people. The left does not see firearms as a tool for self-defense and the protection of the good. They see firearms merely as the instrument that bad people use to hurt other people. Now, here's the key when we're talking about who lives in the real world regarding guns. The left want to disarm good, honest people and make sure that all of the legal firearms are only in the hands of government. Well, that would be great if we lived in a world where we had molecular transporters, and if someone needed help, all they had to do was push a panic button and poof, a policeman would instantly appear and take down the bad guy. Well, I like science fiction as much as a lot of other people do, but we don't have anything like that, and we're not likely to get anything like that anytime soon. What does that mean? That means that we have to defend ourselves, and that means that good, responsible, honest people have to have legal firearms that they can use to defend themselves until the authorities get there. There is no other practical way to do this. All right. Now, there are 5 other pieces that I want to cover in this real-world show, but I'm going to have to bust it in half because there really isn't enough time to go through everything, in my opinion, and keep the show as short as I like to keep it, because I like to make things convenient for the audience who already have their favorite talk show hosts they listen to, and they don't have a whole lot of time to spare. So I always try and remember that. So we're going to go to this show's Awesome American, and we're going to do part 2 of the real world in the next show. All right. Now, the Awesome American this time is Arbor the Painting Dog. That's right. You dog lovers are going to love this. All right. Now, this story came out on June the 11th by someone named Sam Ferrigno, and it's kind of fun. Okay. Arbor the dog paints for the Oklahoma Humane Society. Arbor, a former shelter dog from Las Vegas, is known for his special knack for painting. His latest masterpiece is now on auction, and 100% of the proceeds will go to the Central Oklahoma Humane Society for their work in rescuing animals lost in the aftermath of the tornadoes which so devastated Oklahoma that we all know of. The artistic tribute raises awareness of how animals are affected by natural disasters and how much of a difference organizations like Oklahoma Humane made when they step in to help. The current bid, current as of this story's publication, for Arbor's painting was $1,000. All right, and there's a very nice little YouTube video that goes along with this. The dog takes a paintbrush in his mouth and swipes the paint over the canvas. Frankly, people, I think that this looks as good as almost any piece of modern art. And then again, I'm a realist. I think that if you're going to paint a woman, I like for all the bits to be in all the right places. And I don't know. I think if you're going to paint a bowl of fruit on a table, it should look like a bowl of fruit on a table, not a psychedelic nightmare. But that's just me. At any rate, Arbor, the painting dog, painting for charity, because we all love our pets, is this show's Awesome American. And I hope you guys will all join me for the second half of The Real World, which will be coming up. And have a wonderful week, great weekend, and may your God go with you. Bye-bye.